What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in yesterday's video, we talked a little bit about the fact that Bitcoin was giving some concerning signs that I wanted you to be aware of. And in today's video, I'm going to build on that and kind of just update you on what some of those things are doing and how I'm feeling about Bitcoin at this exact moment. So with that said, let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into the video. Now, of course, just to recap, what you guys know is that Bitcoin is, currently interacting with the liquidity and Fibonacci zones that we've been talking about for the last few weeks. I told you, look, these types of ascending structures are typically continuation patterns that will happen, typically happen that it goes to the downside. And I told you, if it goes to the downside, there's a strong likelihood that we come back down and retest the support levels that we put in on this support right here. Of course, that's just your breakdown zones. This is where it typically goes down to. Now, I said I personally feel as if somewhere within this liquidity zone and Fibonacci support zone that we're going to try to find some support and continue upwards, and we're just going to have to track it as it happens to know if we're actually going to be able to build some support and get out of there. Well, it does seem as if Bitcoin is starting the early stages of that right now, and I want to kind of update you on what's happening at this exact moment. Well, Bitcoin made a very important move over the last about 8 hours to 12 hours or so by setting in a new micro higher high. Of course, we had this high right here before the continuation downwards. We've now surpassed that, which now officially does do half of the work at breaking the downtrend. You guys know a downtrend quite simply is lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. You get it. And whenever you have a moment where you break and set a higher high, now we're in a spot where things could start looking pretty interesting, right? Where we might come in and we might put in some type of equivalent low or a higher low and then start to look to continue to the upside. That's what this could typically look like. But obviously, there are going to be things in the way before we can just say for sure that this downtrend is broken, for sure that we're going to start working our way upwards, and for sure that we are seeing a change in the tide here, maybe some type of move like this on the way. And I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to be on the lookout for now in order to gauge whether or not we are successfully holding the support and preparing for a move back to the upside. Now guys, before we do continue on with the video, I want to tell you a little bit about DeFi Technologies, which is the newest partner of the channel. Now, DeFi Technologies is one of the only companies within the real world of TradFi, publicly traded company on the stock market that is almost completely involved within the world of crypto. Now, what they do is quite simple. They have three primary drivers of revenue, which is DeFi Tech, as we mentioned before, exchange traded products in which they offer and that they can generate revenue from, and then of course DeFi Ventures, in which they identify and invest in new opportunities within the world of crypto. Now, this is a company that has been doing this for quite a while now, and they are currently valued at $616 million, which many people do believe to be undervalued. Now, the reason people believe this to be undervalued is due to the fact that they currently have nearly $1 billion in assets under management, and they are generating real revenue. As you can see here, they just had a Q2 2024 announcement for their financial results, in which they said it was its strongest financial quarter to date, with a record revenues of $133 million and $128 million for the 3 and 6 months ended June 30th of 2024. Now, the reason they're capable of doing that is because off of that $1 billion and of course assets under management that I mentioned before, they can generate up to 8% in fees, whether it's of course through lending, borrowing, management fees, etc., which gives them a super sticky revenue stream and revenue source that is allowing them to do extremely well in terms of making real profit. Now, as a result of this, as I mentioned before, a lot of people do believe that they're undervalued even at $600 million, Anthony Pompliano being one of them. I will actually leave this thread down in the description below, but he gives a ton of information about why this is a stock that you should check out, why he thinks there's a lot of opportunity here, why it could be undervalued, and much more. And being that this is a crypto channel and this is a little bit different, I wanted to bring them to the channel today because I thought it might spark your interest. So let me know down in the comments below. Have you ever heard of them? If not, are you going to go check them out? Let us know why or why not down in the description below, and let's continue on with the video. So going forward, again, how can we identify that the tide is shifting and that Bitcoin is about to make this move towards the upside? Well, it's honestly quite simple. What we know is that oftentimes in moments like this, Bitcoin is going to pull back. Right? It is going to pull back. That's just normally what happens. And say hypothetically Bitcoin continues back up to $60,000. Great, fantastic. It's more than likely going to pull back. That's just what happens. And considering the fact that our 4-hour RSI, for example, is already sitting, I mean, this thing is what, at a 80, or no, it couldn't be. Yeah, 62. I was about to say, no way it's an 82. A 62 reading, getting closer and closer to that oversold territory. The fact that our Bollinger Bands are already overextended to the top side. The fact that these things are happening signals and hints to us that some type of pullback and cool down of this move to the upside is going to happen at some given point. And that's going to be the determining moment. And let me tell you why, because it's really simple. If when we see that pullback, Bitcoin's price is capable of establishing just an equivalent low on, say, anywhere between $52.8 and $53.3 thousand, or a higher low above that, and isn't able to surpass the high that we are setting right now, that then confirms that the tide is shifting, that then confirms that momentum is changing, that the buys that we've been doing are likely going to see some profit, and that we're likely putting in bottoming out structure here to try to continue to the upside to officially establish the higher low here. That is what you need to identify. It's all about now setting the higher low, surpassing the micro high. Again, what that looks like is, and whenever we pull back, whether it's here, whether it's up here, doesn't matter, that we come down, we set either a higher low or of an equivalent low, and then we surpass that previous breakout high, the micro high that we're trying to set right now. Once we're capable of doing that, this entire tide has shifted, the midterm looks better, and I'm willing to bet that Bitcoin is going to try to make a run back up towards the mid $60,000 to $65,000 area, and that's what I'm waiting on. So in the meantime, I'm not doing much. I'm quite simply just waiting. We were doing some buying and buying and buying and buying, just daily purchases throughout this zone as we were seeing Bitcoin putting in some of these lows. Now I'm waiting and I'm watching. Of course, I will say I am doing my September daily dollar cost average still, because I dollar cost average every day of September every year. This is what I do. But outside of that, I'm not trading, I'm not going long, I'm not doing anything. I'm quite simply just waiting, because we did these purchases here throughout the, as we were going through liquidity, and now I need to see if the structure is going to change, because the risk here is that Bitcoin does this and it continues lower. This is a real risk. This is very possible. This could happen. And so that's why I'm not buying anymore right now. I need to see, can we set the higher low or equivalent low, use it to surpass this previous high, and then we're in a spot to where, okay, yes, the tide is quite clearly shifted, and now I'm really willing to bet that Bitcoin starts making that push back towards the upside. So I will continue to update you as this all does play out, and as we do get further and further into, of course, the breakout, the move that we're looking for. And so it might be a little boring for the next few days as we're waiting for this move to happen, but sometimes that's okay to just sit back, relax, and watch how this goes, because of course it can lead to some really good gains. And so of course I hope you guys did enjoy today's quick video on Bitcoin, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.